Leadership is a craft and it's situational. And the leadership model that I've developed through all my experiences and readings and what have you is based on the circle model, and it starts from the center of the circle and works out. So I'd just like to talk through this model with you. And the first thing that as leaders we need to do is be very clear on the purpose. Why are we doing something? And this needs to include not only the what, but the why, most importantly, the why and the manner, the how. So as an Agile leader, it means that we need to honor the principles of Agile. As a Scrum person, I really think using the force, focus, openness, respect, courage, and commitment is really important. Because if we achieve our goals and betray our values, then we have failed. And so this means we need to think about this when in promoting people, when rewarding people, because people see what happens. And so if somebody exhibits poor behavior and they are rewarded, you have just strayed from your purpose. And this is our North Star. This is our guiding point. As an Australian, our Southern Cross, you look at this and you can find north or south. That's great. The next thing we need to do is articulate our constraints. What are the boundaries that you want an individual or a team to work within? How much freedom to operate do they have? Is it money? Is it time? Is it materials? Is it capacity? Many, many times I've found people struggle because they're asked to do something, but they have no awareness of the constraints or boundaries. Now, if we're working in an Agile way, that means, like in Scrum in particular, that means our definition of done should be very clear. That is a constraint. Our sprints are constraints. But how much freedom does your product owner really have around decisions? And if you're a senior leader and delegating, how much freedom does the manager reporting to you have? Can they hire and fire? Do they have control of budget? If so, how much spend do they have? At what point do they have to escalate the spend question? Can they negotiate contracts? How easy is it for people in your organization to talk across department or directorate? All of these are constraints. When we encourage self-management and self-organization, we need constraints. You cannot self-organize in a vacuum. Life is defined by constraints. Make sure that your people know their boundaries that they're going to work in. And this leads to the third point, which is trust. Trust is essential. It is what makes teams. It's what helps people come to work with a smile on their face. Trust enables empowerment. Trust enables you to ask people to do something and let them get on with it. So if people understand the purpose, what they're meant to be doing and how they're meant to behave, are clear around their constraints, you can then trust them to get on with it. And the beautiful thing about the relationship between trust and constraints, when you really trust people, your constraints can be quite open or woolly. The reason for this is when you trust people, you know they're going to come and ask you if they're confused. When they trust you, they know they can ask a question without you yelling at them and biting their heads off. This has been demonstrated time and time again. The most effective teams are the ones that can think out loud. To think out loud means we need some trust. Because I can ask a question or share my opinion without being called a horrible name. Well, actually, being an Australian, you'll probably get called a horrible name, but the more horrible the name, probably the better the friend you are. But that's just cultural differences. The thing is, you can ask your question, have the discussion, get on and deliver the work because you're trusted. So that's worth getting out of bed for. So the whole model, be clear on the purpose, be explicit on the constraints, grow trust.